Hey everybody, it's Paul from One Cast One Fish, and today we're bringing you class number 4 on the Garmin Striker Fish Finder. Now in this class we're actually going to be covering topics I get a lot of questions about. We're going to be looking at our sonar setup features, like depth lines, noise rejection, and overlay numbers. We're also going to be looking at how and why we should change our screen scroll speed. We're even going to look at how to adjust the color scheme to different color palettes for your sonar. But that's not all. We're going to be going over sonar features that I guarantee are going to help you catch more fish and learn to interpret your sonar better. Like the edge feature, which is used to help determine between a soft or a hard bottom. The A-scope for real-time sonar data returns. And we're even going to look at how to add fish symbols to your sonar. Now I'm going to be referencing a lot of supplemental videos in this class, and I've put the links to those down below in the description. I highly recommend checking those out because I guarantee it's going to help bring everything we're going to talk about in this class today together. Let's get started. From the home screen, scroll down to and select Traditional Sonar. This will bring us to the Traditional Sonar screen. Let's press the menu key. This will bring up our menu options for the Traditional Sonar screen. Here you'll have the ability to adjust and change settings for the range, gain, frequency, zoom, overlay numbers, and sonar setup. For the purpose of this class, we're going to be covering sonar setup and overlay numbers. However, I'll be showing you the other options in detail in a later video. Let's scroll down to and select Sonar Setup. Here we have the options to turn our depth line on or off, adjust our screen scroll speed, change our screen's appearance, adjust our noise rejection settings, and restore the sonar to factory default settings. We're going to look at how to add and adjust the depth line first. Let's scroll down to the depth line. Now use the enter key to turn the depth line to show. Now we can hit the back key until you return to the sonar screen. Now you can see our screen has a line with the depth. In our case, the line's at 17.8 feet. You can press up and down on the arrow keypad to move the depth line either up or down on your screen. This feature can be used when trying to determine the exact depth of a fish, bait, or structure, or when more precise depth information may be needed. Now we're going to discuss a very important feature that can have a huge impact on how fish arches are displayed on your screen, and that's the screen scroll speed. Now let's go back to the sonar setup screen and select scroll speed. You'll see we have 5 scroll speed options: ultra scroll, fast, medium, slow, and auto. The scroll speed sets the rate at which the sonar image moves across the screen. A good rule of thumb is to set the scroll speed to match your boat speed, and setting the scroll speed to auto will allow the unit to set the scroll speed based on your current vessel speed. Having the correct scroll speed selected ensures that targets are drawn with correct aspect ratios and aren't going to appear distorted on your screen. Scroll speed can have a huge impact on how targets are displayed on your sonar screen. A lot of times when I hear complaints about the fish finder not showing arches, or that the fish arches are distorted, the problem can be traced back to an improperly set screen scroll speed. If your vessel's moving slowly, or your scroll speed is set too high, your fish arches tend to be more elongated on your screen. If the vessel's moving faster, your scroll speed's set too low, the fish arches tend to be more compacted on your screen. Now if you want to learn more in depth about why fish show up as arches on your sonar screen, be sure to check out my video on fish arch interpretation down below in the description. Now we're going to take a look at another feature that can also have a huge impact on how images are displayed on your sonar screen, and that's our noise rejection filters and settings. From the sonar setup menu, scroll down and select noise reject. You have 3 adjustments for noise rejection: interference, surface noise, and TVG, or time varying gain. Now we're going to look at each of these in detail to help you get a clearer understanding and a clearer sonar image. From the noise reject menu, let's select interference. Changing the interference level adjusts the sensitivity in order to reduce the effects of interference from nearby sources of noise. When you adjust the interference setting from off through low, medium, and high, noise is gradually removed from the image. You should always use the lowest interference setting that achieves the desired improvement in your image quality. Some of the most common reasons for increased image noise on your sonar screen are poor sonar installation or other electronics or power sources located nearby. If you have noise and interference issues, you always want to try to eliminate the sources of the noise first. And that's because as you increase the interference removal, the return images can start to suffer. Let's go back to our noise reject menu and select surface noise. Here you have the option to show or hide surface noise. Surface noise is caused by the interference between the transducer and water. You can select hide for surface noise to help reduce this clutter. I personally prefer to keep my surface noise setting to show, and that's because with the surface noise hidden, the fish finder may also hide any fish that may be present near the surface. Plus, I feel the Garmin Striker has a better option for controlling surface noise without such a high risk of masking targets near the surface, and that's what we'll be covering next. Let's go back now and look at TVG, or time variable gain. TVG reduces surface noise while also allowing stronger target returns to still be shown near the surface. This control is best used for situations where you want to control and suppress clutter or noise near the water surface without severe degradation of your near surface returns. TVG adjusts the appearance of returns to compensate for weakened sonar signals in deeper water and reduces the appearance of noise near the surface. When the value of this setting is increased, the colors associated with low-level noise and fish targets appear more consistent throughout various water depths. This setting also reduces noise near the water surface. Again, I'd start with the lowest setting and progressively work higher until the desired image improvements recognized. I prefer to adjust and control excessive surface clutter and noise with the TVG setting over the surface noise setting. And normally the low setting has been adequate for most of my fishing needs. However, you can always experiment with this setting for your fishing conditions and choose one that suits your needs best. Next, I'm going to show you how to restore your Garmin Striker Fish Finder back to factory default settings. Now let's go back to the Sonar setup screen and select Restore Sonar Defaults. Next you'll be prompted to select Yes or No to ensure you want to restore your sonar to factory default settings. If you do intend to restore your fish finder to factory default settings, simply select Yes. Now as a side note, if you restore your fish finder to factory default settings, it's going to erase all your saved data within the fish finder. Now we're going to check out something that I know is of interest to a lot of viewers. We're going to talk about how to change the sonar appearance. This is going to include different color palettes, the edge feature, A-scope, and how to add fish symbols to your sonar. We're going to start out at the traditional sonar screen and press the menu key. Now scroll down and select Sonar Setup. Scroll down to and select Appearance, and here we have menu options to adjust our color scheme, edge, A-scope, or add fish symbols. Let's start out by selecting Color Scheme. This will bring up a full list of color schemes available on the Garmin Striker Fish Finder. Blue, yellow, classic white, maroon, red and green, orange, red, green, and gray. Now as you can see, we have a lot of options, and to save you a whole lot of time selecting through and looking at each one, I'm going to show you what each one looks like real quick right here. Now when choosing a color scheme, choose one that works best for your eyes and allows you to easily differentiate between sonar targets. Some of my favorite color schemes are classic blue, classic white, red, green, and gray. I also prefer the lighter backgrounds for bright or sunny days and a darker background for low light conditions. Now you might be wondering why gray is on my list of favorites. The one main reason I really like the gray color scheme is that it does a great job of separating out returns and allows you to see a whole lot more intricate detail within your image. This can be extremely useful once you learn to read and interpret sonar better. You may actually find that the gray color scheme becomes one of your favorites too. This next feature we're going to talk about is guaranteed to help a lot of beginners better interpret the bottom composition on their Garmin Striker Fish Finder. I get a lot of questions about how to interpret a hard bottom from a soft bottom on our sonar returns. Well, the edge feature is going to help with that. From the sonar appearance screen, scroll down to edge and turn it on. Now use the back key to return to the traditional sonar view. Here you'll see a black line at the bottom of the sonar screen. That black line is the fish finder in all of its infinite skill and wisdom interpreting what it believes to be the bottom and the bottom composition. Now this is the part that's really cool about the edge feature. Based on the bottom composition, either hard or soft, the thickness of that line is going to vary. For hard bottoms, the line is going to be thicker, and for softer bottoms, the line is going to be thinner. This can be extremely useful if you haven't yet learned to interpret bottom composition on your fish finder. Now this feature is not 100% perfect all the time and should never replace learning how to interpret your sonar for yourself. But I can tell you it's a great tool to start with and learn from until you're more comfortable interpreting what you see on your sonar screen. The next feature we're going to look at is one I believe should always be turned on. And once you learn to use it better, I guarantee it's going to open up a whole new perspective to what you see going on below your vessel. Now we're going to look at the A-scope feature. Let's start from the traditional sonar and press the menu key. Scroll down and select Sonar Setup. Now scroll down and select Sonar Appearance. Scroll down and ensure A-scope is turned on. Now press the back key until you return to the traditional sonar screen. Now on the right hand of the screen you're going to see the A-scope. The A-scope shows real-time data from within your sonar's transducer cone. The one thing we have to understand about our sonar screen is that all the data we see on the left-hand side of the screen is old data. That means the only real-time information we have is located right here in the A-scope. So once you see that fish arch on the left side of the screen, that fish is actually already outside your transducer's cone, which means that fish is no longer in the general area directly underneath your boat. Now, one cool feature that Garmin did add to the Striker Series Fish Finder is located on the bottom of the A-scope. You'll see a number. This number represents your current transducer cone diameter. Now, I could spend over 30 minutes explaining sonar cones and fish arches. But again, I'm just going to recommend you check out the videos linked down below in the description, as they'll go into detail about why fish show up as arches on your sonar, and a few videos explaining sonar frequency and cone angles. If you really want to learn more about your Garmin Striker Fish Finder, I highly recommend these videos. This next feature is great for beginners learning to interpret images on their sonar, and that's the fish symbol feature. From the traditional sonar screen, press the menu key. Scroll down and select Sonar Setup. Now scroll down and select Sonar Appearance. Scroll down to and select Fish Symbols, and here you'll see you have 5 options for adding fish symbols. You can turn them off, have the fish symbol along with background sonar data present, have the fish symbol with background sonar data present, along with the estimated depth of the fish. The next fish symbol option shows just fish icons and no background sonar data. And our last fish symbol option again shows only the fish icon and no background sonar data, but it does add the estimated depth of the fish. Now I want to be 100% honest, the Fish Finder does a pretty good job of interpreting fish with the fish icon symbols, but it's never going to be 100% accurate. Now we're going to look at our numbers overlay selections for our sonar screen. The sonar overlay numbers are located in the upper left-hand corner of your screen and can each be turned on or off through the menu settings. From the traditional sonar screen, press the menu key. Scroll down to and select overlay numbers. This brings up our menu for adding or removing number overlays from your sonar screen. We can add the navigation insert, compass tape, and decide if we want to hide or show our device voltage, depth, speed, or time of day. Now, as I've said in the past, you're welcome to turn on the navigation insert and compass tape, especially if you like them and find them useful. But again, in my opinion, they take up just a little too much real estate on my screen, and I prefer to keep them off. Now, as far as the other options, I recommend leaving them all on, as they show very useful information, and they're tucked over in the top left-hand corner of the screen, up out of the way. Plus, if you remember from earlier, that section of the screen is old data anyway. Now that's a wrap for class number 4, and don't forget to check out the links to the supplemental videos down in the description. And as always, if you have any questions about this class or other classes, be sure to ask down below in the comment section. Now don't forget to like and share with all your friends, and we'll see you next time on the water.